reach out to them today.
she was sitting up there today.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Dan about the interns.
He's gonna update me. You're gonna talk today?
Well, we're just gonna check with the attorney on the forms, check on the schedule, we'll work that out, and then we'll call them. So I emailed them, not all of their handwriting here, so I'll have to call each one.
Sounds good then, thanks.
So it's moving forward, so that's a good thing.
How you doing? Hey.
We're doing it on the agenda session?
You know, those things are special.
The council meeting agenda, right?
So,
Because I don't need executive or council meeting agenda.
So I started signing, ladies, I'll be done. Here, they need to sign. Okay. I'll never bring this in. Yeah, she just walked back in, so we'll wait for her to sit down. Yeah. District official, doesn't matter what side you want me under number 2. Oh, signature above. Do we have any changes? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for a short prayer and a salute to our flag. Almighty God, grant us the wisdom to make those decisions that are in the best interest of all of our residents. May the Heavenly Father of us all bless those who have given the ultimate sacrifice and service to our nation, and may He watch over and protect our servicemen and women, now guarding the gates of freedom. Salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Statement of publication, please.
Take notice that this regular meeting of the mayor and council being held on this 22nd day of November 2021 has been advertised and posted in accordance with Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Conti.
here.
Delina.
Here.
Enriquez.
Here.
Mar.
Here.
Novak.
Here.
Roberts.
Here.
At this time, we'll move to the approval of prior minutes. Council President Delina, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the following minutes be approved on roll call vote as listed on the agenda.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Delina.
Yes.
Conti. Enriquez.
Yes.
Mar. Novak.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
At this time, I do not see any proclamations, presentations. Any need for executive session now?
No, ma'am.
Thank you very much. We'll move over to old business then, and we have the public hearing on the following ordinances.
Bond ordinance number 547-21, capital ordinance providing for the acquisition of a Tahoe truck buy-in for the Borough of Sayreville in the County of Middlesex, New Jersey.
Anybody from the public wish to speak on bond ordinance number 547-21, please stand now and state your name and address. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Administration and Finance, Councilwoman Roberts.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the public hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted on second and final reading and advertised according to law. Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Roberts.
Yes.
Conti.
Yes.
Delina.
Yes.
Enriquez.
Yes.
Mar.
Yes, with comment. I did request data supporting this that I did not receive. So I don't think it's financially responsible of me to vote for it, not knowing the information. But if Councilman Conti, if Councilwoman Roberts, if our CFO, they all feel that it's necessary and that we can afford it, then yes. But I did request data that I never received that I think would have been helpful with this decision.
Novak. A public hearing on ordinance number 548-21, an ordinance fixing the salaries of certain borough officials, officers, and employees for the years 2021 to 2025 as commensurated in the PBA Local 98 bargaining agreement.
At this time, I'll once again open to the public for any and all comments relating to ordinance number 548-21. If you wish to speak, please stand up and state your name and address for the record. All right, ladies and gentlemen, seeing nobody, I will entertain a motion once again. Administration and Finance, Councilwoman Roberts.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the public hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Roll call, please. Oh, is there a second?
Second.
I'm sorry. Now roll call, thank you.
Councilpersons Roberts.
Yes.
Conti.
Yes.
Delina.
Yes.
Enriquez.
Yes.
Mar. Novak.
Abstain.
All right, at this point, I do not believe we have any appointments to make for today, so we will move forward once again now with new business and the introduction of the following ordinances.
Ordinance number 549-21, an ordinance fixing the salaries of certain borough officials, officers, and employees for the years 2021 and 2025 as commensurated in the PBA Local 98 bargaining agreement.
Councilwoman Roberts, please.
I move the ordinance be approved on first reading, advertised according to law, and a public hearing be held on December 13th, 2021.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Roberts.
Yes.
Conti.
Yes.
Delina.
Yes.
Enriquez.
Yes.
Mar. Novak.
Same.
Okay, ordinance number 550-21, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 13 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Sayreville to amend Section 13-4.3, receptacle for municipal solid waste.
At this time, we'll turn this over to Public Works Committee. Council President Delina, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the ordinance be approved on first reading, advertised according to law, at a public hearing to be held on December 13, 2021.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Delina.
Yes.
Conti.
Yes.
Enriquez.
Yes.
Mar.
Yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Ordinance number 551-21, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 12 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Sayreville to amend Section 12-6.3, rent increase limitation, CPI.
Public Works Committee, once again, Council President Delina, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the ordinance be approved on first reading, advertised according to law, and public hearing to be held on December 13, 2021.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Delina.
Yes.
Conti.
Yes.
Enriquez.
Yes.
Mar.
Yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Ordinance number 552-21, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 14, Water and Sewer, Section 14-49, Schedule A of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Sayreville.
Water and Sewer Committee, Councilwoman Novak, please.
Move the ordinance be approved on first reading, advertised according to law, public hearing to be held on December 13th.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Novak.
Yes.
Conti.
Yes.
Delina.
Yes.
Enriquez.
Yes.
Mar.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Ordinance number 553-21, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 14, Water and Sewer, Section 14-16.1 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Sayreville.
Councilwoman Novak again, please. Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Novak. Yes. Conti.
Yes.
Delina.
Yes.
Enriquez.
Yes.
Mar.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Thank you all very much. At this time, we're going to move to consent agenda resolutions. If there's anybody from the public that wishes to speak on consent agenda items only, please stand and give your name and address for the record. Good
Hi,
evening.
Frank Bella, 5 Keenan Street. I just have one question on the bill list, if I may. There is a $23,000 charge to professional financial advisory services to M&W Financial Group. What is that about?
That was the bond sale, sir. We had a bond sale for about $23 million. That's our financial advisor, and that's their cost. They were the ones that partner with bond counsel and myself, and they do the analysis of all the bids and everything and produce the outcome of the award.
Okay, so in addition to the bond counsel, we have their services, so they're like just
Correct.
the CPA or just,
They do all the calculations, the behind the scenes and everything of what the net interest cost would be and all the, they set up all the debt service, the payments and everything, and over the years.
do you have an idea how many hours they billed us for $23,000?
I can check into it.
I mean, is it a week's worth or, you know?
I'm not 100%
It just
sure.
seems a little, that's what caught my attention, it just seemed high. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. Anybody else from the public wish to speak on consent agenda items only? Or Karen?
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and professionals. Karen Bieberts, 9 Burlington Road. I was driven to the renewal for the contract for animal control services. I just had a couple of questions, and I did discuss this 2 weeks ago. I brought it up, but it's a little concerning. Upon working on the process of the TNR ordinance, one of the things that were discussed with Mr. DuPont is the resources that would be available both financially and from veterinarianly. So the trapping are done by the rescues, and in Saraville, and will continue to be done, and by residents. And so we have the contract with AHS that explains that they do trapping. If you do use their traps towards the end of the contract, they have a specific time of the year they do it with their traps. They don't do it in the cold. We have been bombarded regardless. We're still taking animals up to People for Animals. We're looking for another rescue to go join with in Saraville that will help take the heat off of it, and of course, you know, do fundraising. But my question is, do these rules apply to the residents? Because their rules are specific to using their traps. They don't lend them out at certain times of the year. The residents seem to trap all around, year-round. Us with the rescues definitely trapped year-round, and there's no issues. We don't put traps out at night for an animal to sit in the cold. We, you know, follow the rules of the Humane Society and what you're supposed to do. So if we get these kittens and cats, and I know even in the last couple weeks, they don't want to do it after the last week in October. So, I mean, I've probably, since the beginning of November, and it's not quite over yet, I've probably taken about 15 cats up there myself, so kittens too. I mean, it's still, kitten season never stops. So I just was wondering if they were going to clarify in the contract that we, the residents, without utilizing their traps, can still call them. So they seem to want to do it 7/12 of the year. So, and I wonder if that was reflected in the contract. One, you know, the taxpayers' money. And another thing is just that when we do get a copy of the contract, if we can please keep the police department updated and give them a copy immediately. I provided with them with one this year. They haven't had one in 5 years. They are the first line of fire, of people's calls, really. So if they can just have that information, or maybe a little brief education as to if they get a call, because there's cats, it says in the contract, they're supposed to pick cats and dogs up day or night, doesn't matter. That qualifies for an emergency call, and people have been told otherwise before, you know, dead or injured. So mainly dead, they, you know, they don't place a precedence on it, but yet in the contractual terms, it is clearly stated it's an emergency call. So those are my concerns with the contract. And I assume it's the same as last year. There wasn't a copy in the packets Friday when it was available. And the pre-council meeting, we had discussed some of this in the nonpartisan meeting that's held, so, and I'm still looking for answers. But thank you very much for your time and attention.
Yeah, thank you very much. I believe that was in last week's packet, because that was when, so last meeting, not last week. But the contract, I believe, was in that one, because I remember reading it, so for a little bit.
I think I saw the contract renewal one-pager that was renewing the previous contract.
Yeah,
It
that's
wasn't the
what I
full
read.
contract.
Yeah.
You would have to go back to the actual contract from last year to see it.
Yeah, I think that was some negotiations that was going on. Mr. Dupont, can
Yeah,
you
you know what,
speak on that a little?
Yeah, you know what, I know the contract is still going back and forth, so we'll talk to HMS or ACS, or ACS.
Associated Humane Society.
Yeah, Associated.
Yeah.
And so we'll look at those two issues, and we'll make sure that Mr. Frankel includes them.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Karen. I appreciate it. All right, anybody else from the public wish to speak on any and all items relating to the agenda resolutions? Consent, none that I see. At this point, then, I will entertain a motion. Council President, close the public portion and accept the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the public hearing be closed and the consent agenda resolutions be approved on roll call vote.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Delina.
Yes.
Conti.
Yes.
Enriquez.
Yes.
Mar. Novak.
Yep.
Roberts.
Yes.
Okay, I believe we have one resolution to be read in full at this time.
Yes. Resolution 2021-311, resolution of the Borough of Saraville, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, authorizing the acceptance of the State of New Jersey Department of Law and Public Safety, Office of the Attorney General, SFY 21 Body Worn Camera Grant Program, State Fiscal Year 2021. Whereas the Borough of Saraville desires to accept funding in the amount of $220,104 with no match under the SFY 21 Body Worn Camera Grant Program, State Account Number BFY 21 100 066 1020 495, Award Number 21 BWC 393, Subaward Period January 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2025. And whereas the Borough of Saraville has reviewed the accompanying application and has said request, and whereas this project is a joint effort between the Department of Law and Public Safety, Office of the Attorney General, and the Borough of Sayreville Police Department for the purpose described in the application. Therefore, it be resolved on this 22nd day of November by the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Sayreville, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, that one, as a matter of public policy, Sayreville Borough Police Department wishes to participate to the fullest extent possible with the Department of Law and Public Safety, Office of the Attorney General. The Attorney General will receive funds on behalf of the applicant. The Office of the Attorney General will be responsible for the receipt and review of the application for said funds. The Office of the Attorney General will initiate allocations to each applicant as authorized.
At this time, if anybody from the public has a comment or a question regarding the Resolution 2021-311, please step up, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, I will entertain a motion once again. Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the public hearing be closed and the resolution be approved on roll call vote.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Delina,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
Enriquez,
Yes.
Mar, Novak, Roberts.
Yes.
Okay, moving on then, once again, Borough Attorney.
No report, Mayor.
Okay, we will open to the public then for any and all comments at this time. Please step to the microphone if you wish to speak, again stating your name and address for the record. Good evening, Dave.
Hi,
Hello. Name and address, sorry.
Dave Savelli, PBA President, Marshall Street, Parlin section of Sayreville. I had two things, Mayor. One is I want to personally thank Councilman Delina, Councilman Enriquez for all you've done for the PBA for the last 3 years. It was a pleasure working with both you guys. The second thing I wanted to talk about was the American Rescue Plan Act. Okay. I know it's been brought up several times, but just briefly here. On March 11th, 2021, the American Rescue Plan Act was signed into law by the President. A section of that plan, 9901, allows local governments to use the funds provided by law for 4 purposes. One of which is to respond to workers performing essential work during the COVID-19 public health emergency by providing premium pay for eligible workers. While there is no requirement that employers use these funds to provide premium pay, there are compelling reasons for them to do so. Police officers have worked throughout this pandemic to ensure the health, safety, and welfare of the public and to provide other vital services. They have done so at a great risk and sacrifice to themselves and their families. The Act allows the borough to pay each employee up to $25,000. Mayor, I sent you a letter back in July, and nobody knows the effects of COVID more than you. Councilman Delina brought up hazard pay in September. Councilman Enriquez brought it back up in October, and just the last meeting I was at, Councilman Conti brought it up. Tonight, I'm asking you guys, someone to make a motion to pay hazard pay to your workers. I went back on my Amazon to see how much money I spent just buying disinfectants, hands, wipes, gloves, and everything else needed just to survive this thing. And I spent over $1,000 of my own money just buying stuff. I have the receipts if anybody wants to see it. We've had guys on my shift that didn't want to go home. They stayed in hotels for weeks at a time. Some guys went to Poconos. And the borough got almost $6 million. So it's a small portion could be given to your workers. Okay?
Thanks, Dave. And you are right. And I have to say, I was literally a brand spanking new penny at that time as mayor when COVID hit.
Right.
And I could not have done and protected what I believe our employees and working hard to protect our residents without the help, without the work, without the constant communication of the chief, police officers. It was really a complete group effort. And one of my biggest concerns prior to becoming infected myself, I know how bad that is.
Yeah, I know.
That was one of my biggest concerns, was the safety of especially our police and our fire, and many of our workers too, our water and sewer and our guys in the field, because there was only so much we could do to protect. And you worked tirelessly, and by the grace of God, I think we made out much better than other municipalities as a result of that. So it is not on deaf ears that you come before us. And
What I would like to do is I would like to make a motion to pay hazard pay to our volunteers and our police, and anyone who falls into that category as well.
And I think that has to be subject to the approval.
Approval of the CFO.
of the CFO with the receipts demonstrating that, the equipment that you had mentioned were was
Okay.
purchased, so, I think that would be permitted under the monies that we've received, would that be accurate?
I will check.
Yeah.
I
I personally think it was probably well worth the risk, approving it, but again, I think the most important thing is the documentation. We demonstrate that our frontline workers were incurring with their own money necessary equipment to combat COVID, and so that at least, our CFO has, Denise has the backup. And hey, listen, if anyone comes back, say, yeah, here it is, Mr. Spelly did this, and this, $1,000, and we paid it.
I think it goes I think it's a little different than that. I think, I'm sorry,
It
Dave,
is. It
correct
is.
me if I'm wrong. I think you're not looking for reimbursement of the items and
No,
things.
no.
Clear-
So a lot of towns
what
have
you're saying,
paid,
Yeah,
But again, the hazard pay, though, has to certainly be documented and supported, and so if in fact, though, you did spend that money, I personally think that you should be reimbursed. That's just my opinion. Hazard pay is different than what I was talking to, but
Okay.
I was.
You're saying in addition to?
I was specifically referring to the out-of-pocket costs that you incurred for combating COVID.
Yeah, mine's easy, it's on Amazon, so I can just pull
Right,
it up.
so again.
But guys that stayed in
I
hotels.
think that as long as the documentation is there, and you can support that you were there using, the issue, that's something that we can inquire about.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't want it to be about having them supply documentation. Frontline workers, I think, would be enough to me in a COVID situation for all that they've done, and others were protected by them throughout this time. So if it was about documentation, I
No,
don't
it's not
think,
about documentation.
I don't think that's the right
I don't
way to
think-
go.
no, I was referring to his out-of-pocket expenses.
No, I understand that.
So not the hazard pay, that has not to be documented. What I was referring to was specifically his out-of-pocket expenses. The hazard pay, that's something that Denise can certainly inquire about.
I think, listen, I can't speak for the council, and it doesn't, I will just say that having to work, especially at the height of the pandemic, and I know what, in talking to the chief back and forth almost every single night, getting those calls to go into an emergency, go into a house, responding to a call, you don't know what you're walking into. We did get, information and that you guys were able to know, okay, this was like, kind of like a hot COVID house.
Well,
But you put yourselves on the line going in there every single day, not knowing what you were going to encounter. And I do believe that we tried our absolute best, as a council, as a borough, to insulate and protect you guys as well as we could. We changed our shifts and stuff, but it doesn't negate the fact that you are a frontline worker and you have to be out there. I think what we might need to do, Dave, is can we talk with Denise? The dollar figure for hazard pay kind of runs the gamut, right? We've
But I've seen it from 1,000 to 25. I know
Absolutely.
That one town did 7. I know a town around here gave
Yeah.
their employees comp time. South Danbury gave their guys 80 hours comp time.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to
Yeah.
turn around and kind of tackle that.
Yep.
I don't want to use the word negotiations, but I want to turn around and find a way in order to make you guys understand how much we appreciate you, and also do it in a way that makes fiscal sense too, that money will go quick. But I think that's important. I
we
think that's
commit to
important.
doing something.
Yeah, I think we can.
That's the goal, to commit to
And I
doing
think,
something.
and I think we need to. You guys should be rewarded for your hard work during the height of the pandemic, and that not only includes the PVA, that also includes our firefighters and our EMS as well. And then eventually, I would like to, I know I only have one meeting left,
Yeah, you
but
do.
get our employees
Yeah.
paid as well.
I think
Let's
that it's unanimous here that they want to allow this, but I think there has to be a condition placed on the resolution to allow hazard pay so that Denise and I can confirm that this can be done. I believe it can be done, but I don't know if there's specific limitations as to the hazard pay. Could it be total hazard pay? Is it a fourth of it? Is it a share of it? I don't know that. So
It's been discussed up here at the last few meetings,
Right.
for the last 3 months, and it always seems to get pushed to the side.
Well, no,
It just-
no,
it's just-
if I might,
No?
it's not exactly easy getting clarification regarding our spending of this money.
Of what?
Of spent,
The spending of the money, the
Well, it clearly
limitations.
states it can be used for hazardous pay.
Mayor,
pay
if I may-
police
again,
officers.
I don't.
May I say something, maybe clear it
Go
up
ahead, Dan, clear
totally?
it.
Also on my agenda this evening, there is a consultant who is a specialist in this, okay, which I'm asking the council to fund, okay? I would feel much more comfortable without us, as we talked about guesswork on a broadband situation here. I would feel much more confident on an expert who's in this field to give us advice, to make sure that they would give us the advice so we know we're in good shape. So it's not that I don't think the council is not in favor of doing something. I think we have to do it the right way.
You just have to do it the right way.
Other towns have done it, so it's got to
Oh.
be.
No, I don't disagree with you, but I do think that, and I believe that this is the Joseph DeLuca Advisory and Consulting Services.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so, you know, I think that you can go ahead and move forward, subject to the approval and review of Joseph DeLuca Advisory and Consultant Services. It's clear that other towns have done it, and I've seen it.
It's clearly, yeah.
But again, I haven't seen, you know, the federal government give a proclamation on it, but I do think that, you know, you could make this motion subject to a review by Joseph A. DeLuca Advisory and Consulting
I'm
Service.
good with that.
Yeah.
If someone makes a motion to do something.
Again, I'm
Yeah.
just,
I know. All right,
Yep, that's it. That's good, Dave.
So moved.
thank you.
As do I have to put a number figure on it? No? Okay. So moved.
I don't know, Kevin did mention volunteers. I don't know how you would work that in, what firemen and the first aiders in this town volunteer. And what did they put in as pay? They didn't get anything. They just, and what's scary is like what they were saying. Some people were afraid to go home.
Yep.
And almost every worker had the chance of bringing something home to their family. And that's, it pretty has to pay for almost anything that we did work with fire.
So let's.
So the motion, yeah, so the motion has
I would
been
just
made.
like to make sure that any of the funding, we don't overload in one side, and make sure that everyone who needs to receive some of that, which is why it's critical that we use that consultant to give us some guidance. So I think everything is on the table, and I would not see why we would need a resolution, since we're going to do that anyway. That was the plan. Because, yeah, we were going to look at all of those options, and that, of course, was one of them.
but I think this is the action item of our meeting, so it does allow Denise to take potential, yeah, to be a little more specific. So at the next meeting, it's just a resolution to go on to the next meeting. This resolution specifically empowers you all to start looking, subject to Mr. DeLuca's consulting services confirming it. So I would still make the resolution and get some sort of action.
See? Okay.
The next meeting, your council meeting here, that is just a resolution or authorizing the borough administrator to begin negotiating, I think, to a point. So you still have to need a subsequent meeting. So I still think you should do this.
Okay. So should
There's
I
a
make the
on
motion?
the table.
There's a motion on the table already, right? Okay.
I believe so. Was there a second? There we go, Councilwoman Novak.
Second.
So we'll go for a roll call then. Oh, I'm sorry, Dan.
Am I allowed to say, I don't,
You can. Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
I'd like to hear because the motion that I heard was for certain groups, and I think that's a dangerous precedent.
Can we repeat that? Yeah.
So I'm just kind of looking at, if it's certain groups, I'm just thinking, I'd like it to keep it more general than to be certain. And I just would rather make sure if we need to,
I agree with that because
that's all I'm saying. That's-
Everybody took a
I don't
chance
think the
bringing-
resolution that was presented specifically, there was some discussions, but there was no delineation of a specific group.
can we repeat the motion quickly just for Jessica? Because I know Jess is going to need
Yeah, it's,
specifics on that. Did you get all of that, Jess?
So it's hazard pay for borough employees and volunteers. Subject to the review
Mr. DeLuca's.
of Joseph DeLuca Advising and
Is it
Consulting.
premature because we have it? Okay, thank you.
Talked about hiring the legal firm, so you can't put that in the
So just,
Resolution, it's
so
not.
just, so just make it the resolution to pay hazard pay to the borough employees and volunteers, subject to review by the CFO and borough attorney.
Second.
Roll call, please. Councilpersons Delina.
Yes.
Conti.
Yes.
Enriquez.
Yes.
Mar. Novak.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, any other, so Dave, that, it took a little bit, but I think it happened there, at least.
But not all of our employees are able to get it, just so you know.
That's, yeah, that's why that's part of the review, thank you. Yes,
Before you, on the same issue, and yeah, definitely the first responders, need to be, there's a lot of federal money out there, and we should get as much as we can for Sayreville. Can any of that money be used to, reimburse the borough for its regular overtime? I understand the hazard pay is something we haven't paid anybody yet, but I'm sure we've expended a lot of overtime for police and borough, employees. Is any of that subject to reimbursement from the federal money?
that's one of the reasons why we are bringing in that consultant, because we have had a very difficult time trying to get clarification, not just us, but, all municipalities, regarding what that money can actually be utilized for. Initially, there were not going to be really any strings attached. That was the call that I received from Congressman Pallone when this was originally on the table. And things have changed, obviously, since then, and now there's a lot of regulation that seems to be going in. And it's requiring municipalities to really have to rely on experts and professionals that have a better idea on this. I still say we try for as much as we can. I will say, when it came to police, with the shift change that was done in order to keep everyone safe, I think we actually had a reduction in overtime as a result of being able to stagger shifts in a different way than what we normally do. That's not saying that overtime still did not occur, and whenever there's a way to cut overtime costs coming out of the borough from some other entity, I'm a huge proponent, but I agree with you, and that's part of the due diligence
I
we're
just,
trying.
I understand, if
Yeah.
there's extra money to pay the first responders hazard pay, more power to them, but, just make sure the taxpayer gets a cut of whatever federal money is out
Absolutely.
there. Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome, thank you so much. Anybody else from the public wish to speak? Yes, sir. We have two. If you don't mind, I am going to, he was a little closer, and he beat you up there. So, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Robert Duffy, 111 Merritt Avenue.
Hello.
I'd like to know what's going on with Mr. Bailey's position in town.
I don't think he has a position in town anymore. He's
Did
retired.
you replace his position?
Yes. Well, we,
Exactly, we don't have a director, we have two superintendents.
Right.
Yes.
We split the public works.
Is there any reason why? You
There-
have two superintendents instead of a director?
yeah, I'll actually defer that over to our business administrator. That was a decision that was made by the council, but I can give you a little more direction as to how that idea did come about and why.
I believe we felt that the responsibilities of the Director of Public Works would be better served by two individuals who have been with the borough for a long period of time, and to promote them for the responsibilities of, we call them superintendents, and to split Public Works into two, not divisions, but two responsibilities of superintendents. So what, if I may finish, Mr. Duffy. And with that, also, we were looking at, that's a salary reduction overall that would help us with the, so we were looking at reducing a director as far as a salary, giving some of the responsibilities to superintendents, and saving some money so we might be able to hire some more people for Public Works.
Do you think it's fair to the citizens of Sayreville to do what you're doing?
You have to ask the mayor and council that.
Council, do you think it's fair to the people of Sayreville to have two supervisors running a big organization that has no idea what's going on?
I don't know if I would say that they have no idea what's going times have, vacations and stuff, have also supervised additional divisions. So I don't think I would ever clarify that the two of them don't know what they're doing.
Well, I could clarify that because they don't, okay? Number one is a truck driver. He has nothing, no idea how to organize anything. He drove a truck most of the time for the township. The other person I don't even know is supposed to be doing the clerical work. I don't know if he's doing it right, okay? I spoke to Mr. Bailey for over 2 years trying to get one street paved, Ann Terrace. It's very bad. Okay, if you took a 5-yard dump truck, filled it with asphalt, you cannot do the street, and it's only 1 block long. You cannot finish the street. So Mr. Bailey turned around to me and says, we can't afford to do it all. We're gonna scrape it and relayer it. I said, that's great. Well, then he retires. So I wait. I spoke to Dan many times. I went down to the Public Works Department, the office, and they threw this poor gentleman under the bus. Right under the bus. Don't complain to us, complain to Jay Cornell.
Can I ask who talked to them?
The 2 girls in the office, okay? I don't know their names, they've been there a while, all right? And there's Gavin on his phone playing games, and I started talking to him, and I said, you can ask this gentleman right here. Mr. Gavin knows that street. He knows how bad it is. So then I made a comment saying, you know, you got paid during this whole pandemic. You know, she told me, you need to leave this building. But I'm just saying, I don't think it's fair to the people of Sayreville. You need someone that knows what they're doing. It's just like any other organization. You have a director. You can't take the secretary that's been there 20 years and become a director. It doesn't work. She sees what goes on as a secretary, but she don't know how to do all the laws and regulations and stuff.
I don't, we did not put a secretary as a director, for the record.
No, I'm not saying, I'm giving it as an example. You're saying you have 2 supervisors
Well,
running the
superintendents.
department, okay? Temporarily, that may be fine. You need a director to run that industry. You need a director to run that department properly. As a Sayreville resident, I think I deserve that. Whatever his salary was, you come to me and say, all right, take $5 off your tax bill. You don't say that. You're saving money doing that. But you ain't taking it off my bill. So I think you need to take care of the people of Sayreville and do the right thing. And that street still isn't paved at all. I went down there and complained, and they filled 1 pothole. 1. Take a ride down here and see that street. It's bad. But I feel sorry for this man, because they threw him under the bus right off the bat. And he works too hard for this town.
So our council liaison for Public Works, the gentleman apparently feels that we need a director and that our 2 superintendents are not sufficient and did not come with what was needed as far as education, experience, and knowledge. That would be Mr. Gavin and Mr. Phil Quigley.
If they had the qualifications and they took all the exams to become
They do.
an
And
executive.
they did take the exams.
Or have a certification.
They do.
They do.
They're certified public
For
works
s-
managers.
They both are.
Managers, but not a director.
That's the
No,
same, that's a
what
certificate you need to hold that
Mr. Bailey had
position.
also.
Okay,
That's what Mr.
So that's one of the things, before this decision was made to not move forward, and the council made the decision to not move forward with the director, I do believe that Mr. Frankel and the due diligence of the council, we can't by law just appoint certain people into these positions without specific certifications in order to deal with the signing of paperwork, without handling different things. That's a legal requirement. we can't do that. So we wouldn't have been able to hire somebody that was not deemed to be legally appointed, certified, and appropriate for those positions. Dan, would you just like to, my back gets up a little bit because I'm very proud of our employees and I want to make sure that you have the correct information. Dan, would you be able to go through that, please, so that you understand what we have as far as?
There are licenses, certifications that anybody running public works has to have. When we split this into two superintendents, between the both of the superintendents, they have all of the certifications, all the licenses, everything that a director would have. We've put them in those positions. They're also, we call them, they were working supervisors. They're also working superintendents. They do not sit behind a desk. They're out in the field. They inspect the field. They also work side by side with their employees. A director usually doesn't do that. So I think that's an advantage, not a disadvantage. As far as having the responsibilities, anytime you put someone in or promote someone into a new position, there might be some growing pains, okay? You're one of the first people that have come up since we've done this and has actually, and I don't know if you're even complaining about the positions of superintendents. You seem to be complaining about the secretary who told you to leave the office, which is disturbing to me,
Yes.
and I will address that. But I don't know if you're complaining about the superintendents or complaining that they're not doing your street, and that's the underlying complaint of what you're up here for. I don't quite understand it, but I've not heard that these two individuals splitting the duties, you're actually the first person that I've heard that is not satisfied with their performance. And I'll ask you, I don't know, are you satisfied with their performance? Or do you seem to be not satisfied with the way you were treated when you went into the office, which I understand completely, and that should be addressed by the superintendent.
Well, I have two answers to that. The one answer is, if you're doing that now, for the last 20 years, why did we have a director?
Because.
Why all of a sudden, now we get rid of a director? When you had it all these other years, paying an enormous salary. Number two is to the answers. I complained to you about those two women. And you said to me, Mr. Duffy, I understand. I try to tell all these people in the borough that their service.
Customer service, I said.
Customer service, that you're the customer and they have to treat you with good care. They still there?
The people that are there,
Are they still there, those two girls?
I don't know when the last time you came in. We did have a change in the office about 8 or 9 months ago.
Okay.
So I don't know when you were there last and when you were there present. But either way, it's not acceptable.
I was there at the time, it was said, it was in the springtime, and I had a meeting with you July 3rd at 9 a.m. And I told you all about it, and you were very concerned.
I was.
Okay, I seen your attitude, you were very concerned about it, and I thank you for that, you know what I mean? But if I see something wrong, I tell you about it, and I wish everybody in the township would do that. Because, it's like being a CEO of a company. He don't know what they're doing in the trenches unless someone gets to him and tells him.
Absolutely.
Okay? And that, but I'm just saying. I don't know what kind of certification he has. I have to do my research to see if it's got properly. I'm going to ask you, I don't think that their certification is publicly allowed, is it?
Yes.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
And, okay.
A town our size is only required to have one certified public works manager. But both of these individuals were supervisors of a specific division. And they, on their own, went and took all the classes and passed the state exams. So they both did have it. They were actually looking forward to moving up at some point.
Yeah, I've been in town a lot.
If I just may, I just want to
Go
make
ahead,
just
Dan.
one small correction, because I don't want to leave here because she said something that's not. One of the supervisors had passed all the courses and everything, but, because of COVID, the test still has not been given. So I just want to make sure all the courses have been completed, but one of them have not taken the test, which would be the piece of paper that would make him a certificate eligible.
I've been in town a long time. Okay, I'm a transplant. I'm from Brooklyn. Okay, but I'm here a long time. I'm here a long time. I watched Gavin grow up. I hung out in his father's bar. Gavin happened to be my driver, garbage, when it was every day. When then it was twice a week, and now it's once a week. And I try to educate him because he doesn't think too good. Okay, I know him very well. Not putting the guy down, but, you know, he's got his quirks, you know what I mean? I don't know if you remember, it had to be about 30 years ago when the council was going to hire an outside company to find out if we get private. I remember it well. Okay, you do, okay. Well, I happened to be home one day and the garbage ain't picked up. The next day he came with the garbage and I called him out of his truck. I said, Gavin, come here. I said, what are you doing? He says, oh, they want to get rid of us.
All right, just hang on.
I said,
We're starting the
I
trend
said
into.
to him, you're doing it the wrong way. No, you take care of the garbage, do it on time, take the cans, bring it up to the garage, and the people in the township will love you, and they'll go to the council and say, don't get rid of these guys. But when you're not picking up our garbage on time, we're against you, and then we're going to be with the council. That's how he thought. And I told him, you got to do it for the people in the township. Tell everybody that's a garbage guy. You got to do it for the people. And do the cans, set them up right, do this, that. You do all those little things, the people are going to love you.
So let me just hold on for 1 second, because I do want to make sure that I don't get a nudge from my attorney and not tread into some difficult situations with our employees. So let's try and, I think we hear you, but I don't want our employees' names being dropped around a little bit.
I know the gentleman, and I
Yeah.
don't think, he could pass all the tests in the world, but I know he ain't doing it. And I told Ms. Dan that when I complained, they came down and filled one pothole. I said to him, he says, no. I says, well, this is what your supervisors do. You need to go down there and see Ann Terrace and see the one pothole they did.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Dan's a good guy, I agree with you, and when a resident comes to complain
Yeah, I
or bring
know.
something, would you meet with Dan one more time? Because I want to make sure that your complaints and everything are heard. I want to make sure that we get to the root of what the issue is.
I want my street fixed.
I got
want
you.
Ann Terrace fixed.
And
I
that's
want
what
it-
I thought.
And I want it in a timely manner. I'm
Excellent.
working 2 years on that street. You know what I
So
mean?
I understand. Now, there is
No.
no doubt.
He just didn't, when they came and did Merritt Avenue, okay? It was only done 3 months, and they all cracked on Merritt Avenue. And
So-
I went- and I went to Jay, and Jay says, I'll send someone out to look at it. Apparently, he says, we'll get it fixed. They made the crown,
Oh, the
Too
turd
sharp.
okay, yeah.
and it
that's
cracked.
right.
So then the guy came in and redid it. It cracked again. But I spoke to Mr. Bailey about it. He rented a machine to put the tar in the cracks so the grass don't grow, because he didn't have the machine. And ever since then, we were pretty well friendly on the phone and stuff. But I
Very
just
good.
want Ann Terrace fixed. That's all.
I got you.
I think
Jay
it's
is-
fair enough.
Jay is there. Jay has a microphone. Whenever Jay has a microphone, we will let him talk. Go ahead, Jay.
Thank you, Mayor. This year, the Public Works Department did recommend that Ann Terrace be milled and paved, so it was included in the ordinance for
Oh,
funding that was adopted a couple months ago, so it's definitely gonna be done in the spring, as soon as the weather permits.
The road improvement gods have shined upon you. Wonderful.
Thank you.
And I think Ann Terrace is on the list. When we pass
It was bad.
this year, when we pass it this year,
We should have led with that.
All the engineering work.
Right.
And it'll be approved in the spring of
Okay.
So Miss,
I've been on that street, Merritt Avenue, since '79. And Ann Terrace only had one layer. Walt Rogers didn't finish it. The manhole covers are up about 6 inches. And now, from people coming in and out of their driveways, nothing full of holes. It was never done. So-
Mr. Duffy, this does not happen often, that I'm able to turn around and listen to a resident come up and give me the litany
Okay.
of issues.
All right.
But it's on there, Jay had the microphone.
Okay, no
And
problem.
now, I'll let you go.
Thank you very much.
You're
I
welcome. Goodbye,
appreciate
Mr. Duffy. Have a good evening.
Who says I can't get nothing done?
Look at that.
Wait, excuse me.
Go ahead.
This gentleman's been waiting.
Yeah, oh, yes, I'm so
If-
sorry.
Mr. Bello.
Okay.
This gentleman's been waiting.
Yeah, can you let him come up,
Want to
please?
come up? You can come.
You sure? You better get a little closer.
I'm not going to be that, I'm not going to be that long. I just wanted to follow up to Mr. Duffy's issue. And I support the staff development, developing our people in town. I just wanted to ask, did we do any kind of search to replace a director from outside the borough?
Yes.
We did?
Yes.
And we didn't find a suitable candidate? Okay. And then the second part of that is, are we going to, at some point in time, rehire a director at that director's salary? Or are we reorganizing the department that it can function this way without a director and that'll be a permanent savings?
We will evaluate the superintendent's performances, and then we'll make a decision.
So there's a possibility that we may have a director of
I
public
didn't say
works
that.
in the
I said
future.
we'll evaluate the superintendent's performances.
And would we eliminate these superintendent positions? Okay.
There's no answer. There's no
That's
answer
my
to that.
point. It's, it sounds like maybe saving a little bit money here because, Mr. Bailey retired at a high salary. But it looks like, down the road, we may be even paying more money because now we'll be paying a director and superintendents and all of that. That's, you can't say yes or no. I know that's up to a future council. I just wanted to make the point. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, sir.
You better hurry.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience. Name and address,
No
please.
problem. Good evening. Name's Robert Izzo. A little nervous. First time speaking in front of you. So good evening, Mayor and Council. I live on North Edward Street. Been a lifelong resident of Saraville. Born and raised, grew up here. My mother grew up here. My grandfather lived here. I worked in Sarah Fisher Brick Company. I'm coming to you tonight with a couple questions, and I'm hoping that you can give me some answers, whether it be tonight or further meetings down the road if I have to attend more. And I just hope it doesn't fall by the wayside. So North Edward Street, I've lived there for 2 years, and me and a couple of my neighbors, we all noticed that we live on the upper end close to Washington Road. And, not everybody, but there's a ton of speeding on our block. It's a flat block, it's nice and wide, and it's a concern to me. I'm a parent, I have 2 kids, and just before I came, I just did a little bit of thinking. There's the 2 houses to my right and the 2 houses to my left, 4 houses across the street. At any given time, there's 17 children under the age of 13, whether it be 10 or all 17. And there's an additional 4 or 5 children that, one just got his license, 2 are in college. There's a couple others that fall in between that range. And the speeding's it's getting a little out of control. And whether it's actual residents down the other end of the block, people cutting through to try to beat the light of Pulaski, I don't really care who it is. I just like something to be done because I feel like it's only a matter of time. I almost got hit the other day getting out of my car. So it's only a matter of time because you know how it is with kids. I'm assuming that the most of you, if not all of you, have had children, grandchildren, whatever. You could tell them, look before you cross the street, but you get sidetracked. Taking groceries out of the car, one of them sees a friend and runs across the street. It happens. And I don't want it to happen on our block. Now, I don't know legally what can be done or, I had a lot of talk about money and all this other stuff, but I have a couple suggestions, perhaps. I don't know if any of them can be done or will be done, but I'd like it to be taken into consideration. I know, my block isn't the freshest paved, and I don't know if it's any time in the future in the plans to be repaved. I don't know if you guys could throw a couple speed bumps or even speed humps on the block. That's one solution, but it's gonna cost a little bit of money. There's some other solutions I thought, perhaps, I don't know if it's legal to do speed cameras. I know in New York you could do it. I know there's certain towns that have red light cameras still. There's also digital readouts, because I drive a truck, so I'm all over the place. Like tri-state area, Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, New York, Connecticut, all over the place. There's digital readouts in neighborhoods. If you do 25, it says thank you. Anything under 25, it says thank you. 26 and above, it says too fast, and it's blinking at you too fast.
Yeah.
Maryland, for example, they have dummy cars. They hide them on the side of the highway behind Jersey barriers, and if you're caught going too fast in a construction zone, you get a ticket. And quite frankly, you could argue that, like, well, there's no proof I was driving. I don't care. If your vehicle was caught doing over the speed limit, which even 25 I think is too fast, but that's besides the point. But if your car's caught doing over the speed limit, I think something needs to be done. Maybe set an example. I know there's I don't know the exact terminology, but I know there's a traffic enforcement crackdown that the police do every 2 weeks a year or something like that. I don't know the specifics. And I have seen them on the block. They float around Pulaski and North Edward Street, but it'd be something that, I would like to see done more often. And, as far as the speed cameras or the dummy car or whatever, you could park it in my driveway if you want to, but those at least generate revenue. The speed bumps, I know you gotta pay for the digital readouts, yeah, they're nice and all, but that's something else that has to be paid for. But basically, I would just like as a parent, I'd like something to be done. And a little something else about myself, I also served in the fire department in Melrose for 13 years, so I'm not just some guy that's just coming up here, just to add a little backstory to that. But basically, that's what I have for you. I've only been on North Edward Street for 2 years, but it's every day. It's day and night. Like, I'm sitting on the couch and I see somebody fly by, and it's getting to the point to where if a kid gets hit, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't even want to think about it. But it's something I think that needs to be addressed, because it's not the only block. I grew up in Melrose for over 25 years. Oak Street, every day around rush hour, people cut down Cross Avenue just to beat the traffic. But,
I'm glad you came tonight. I don't want to cut you off, because this is one of the issues that I think almost every council meeting now for the last several months, there is a resident from another section of this town that has the exact same issue and concern. I'm not going to call it a complaint, because this is a concern. We all live here and we want to see everybody safe. Now, the different things that you have brought up to us, absolutely, we've heard them, and we have contemplated all of those things with the assistance of our police department. Councilman Conti is actually our public safety liaison, and he works with, oh my God, poor Sergeant Braille every day. He should literally just get a room in your house at this point. And we really do try, and our police, they do try. And I agree more. No, I know that. I know but we need to find another way to get people to just slow down. This is constant. Mr. Conti.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that Sergeant Braille would definitely want to come by your place and talk to you about it some more. Look around, and talk about some of the ideas. I mean, some of the ideas I know, although they're good ideas, I know there some things we just can't do. The cameras, the bumps, for other reasons. But that said, he's been going through the town, putting up the flashing signs and doing some other things. So, I would say that he'd be more than happy to stop by and sit and talk with you for a little while.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And just, talk about some of the ideas and see what we can do. He's always willing to talk with residents. I know a couple of people have been here before, and he shows up at their house, and they, they get to talking about it. And see what we could do.
Yeah.
See what we can do. So I think we're always open to the ideas. I think that the digital signs, although, the limited success, I think they've been somewhat successful. They've been generating a good buzz around, whoa, did you see the signs that, you got to slow down? And he's been moving those around. So I think it's helpful
Yeah.
when we're limited in doing certain things. But if you want to pass me your information, your phone, and I didn't catch the street address, you give it to
21
me.
North Edward Street.
What was it, 20?
21 North Edward Street?
Okay. 21, all right, good.
Sure.
Yeah, then just leave that for me, and I'll talk with him about it, and then, as I said, he'll be happy to do that. And he could talk to you about some other safety grants that they're working on and other ideas. So, there may be something that he says that, we don't know about, that makes some sense for the future.
Yeah.
I think it's time that as a community, we start again thinking about another slow down campaign. That is something we can all, as residents and as people that live here and stuff, can really support. And what I find is the towns that have a very robust signage that residents turn around and really surround themselves with and campaign for, it sends a message to people that come through our town. It has to be robust, it has to be big, and I think that it's really something that we need to work with our PD for, again, turn it around, find out how we can get grant money, how we can turn around and really get as many people on board. Whenever we have an event in Sayreville, it's that opportunity, 20, 30, 40 signs, and people need to see them. And we need to say, enough is enough in this town. We all know what happens when you go over the bridge in South River. Everyone has a panic attack, you put the brakes on immediately, and you wait and you hope that that guy at the old Laugh-In is not sitting there that is going to get you. We need to start having that here. And I think it starts with our residents and we start saying, slow down. So that's something that I think we need to work on for this year. Let's get a really, really robust, in addition to our slow down for Sauer and some of the other campaigns, we need something here that says Sayreville, that says, if you want to speed, you're going to have to go onto the Parkway and find another town. It's not happening here.
And the good news, I think, is that when residents come, your back neighbors, I don't know what side of North Edward you live on, North Pulaski just went through this, their residents, Embroidery, Creamer, Main Street, we've had people come, and within days, you see a speed sign or a flashing, monitor, radar, so Sergeant Braille is responsive, and whoever does submit a concern, it is heard and is taken care of. I have seen that firsthand.
Well, no, I appreciate that, and especially this time of year, being that it gets dark earlier,
It's
kids still want to play, so, and.
I agree with you.
Exactly.
Yep. And I have two kids, they're teenagers, but they're not driving, they're young, and they go out and they walk with their friends, they ride their bikes. And, I'm tracking them on Life 360, and I am watching every moment, and they still have limitations, what roads they can. We are right by North Edwards, right on Pulaski, and it's scary, it's dangerous, and I agree with you.
And I understand too that nobody's perfect. I mean, I'm sure we all speed, you're late or whatever, but sometimes it's just, you're doing 26 and a 25, right, whatever. But like, I don't have a radar gun, but when I could tell that you're doing over 40 miles an hour down my block, and I live like no more than 500 feet, 1/10 of a mile from the corner.
Yeah,
And,
that's,
we talk, my neighbors, and the speed that you're coming down the block at is absolutely ridiculous. And,
agree.
I catch, like, I don't, on my block, like, I go to the deli down the other end of the block, and I drove up the block today, and I don't go faster. I think the fastest I caught myself is 22 miles an hour. And I don't care how long it takes me to drive the whole block. Granted, the lower end is older, there's not that many children down there, but regardless, just, I just think it needs to be addressed, so.
no, I agree, and we will, and hopefully, by all means, you always come to the council meetings, but I know that Sergeant Braille and Vince Conti will definitely be in contact with you, but if you don't hear anything, come back, we're with you on this, 100%.
All right, well, thank you, I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. Anybody else from the council from the public wish to speak? All right, at this time, I will then entertain a motion to close the
Make a
public.
motion to close the public portion.
And, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, let's,
Motion to adjourn.
all in favor? There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for agenda meeting, so give us a few seconds to pass that out, and then everybody's ready? You don't even need me to wait? All right, salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Statement of publication, please, Jessica.
Take notice that this agenda session meeting of the mayor and council being held on this 22nd day of November 2021 has been advertised and posted in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Conti.
Here.
Delina.
Here.
Enriquez.
Here.
Mar. Novak.
Here.
Roberts.
Here.
Any questions or comments regarding the ordinances introduced during the first meeting? Okay, we will then move on to new business with communication and committee reports, administration and finance, please. Councilwoman Roberts.
Thank you, Mayor. Move the following minutes and reports be received and filed. Municipal Clerk's monthly report for October 2021 and CFO's investment activity report for October 2021.
Second.
Applications for bingo and raffle licenses for St. Stan's Church for bingo on January 6th, 13th, 20th, 27th. St. Stan's HSA for bingo on January 2nd, 9th, 16th, 30th. And Sayreville Auxiliary Police Association to conduct a bingo on-premise 50/50 and on-premise tricky tray draw on February 11th. And authorization for the tax collector to refund taxes due to 100% disabled veteran tax exemption as listed.
We're just going to second away.
Okay, and notice of public hearing filed by Jersey Central Power and Light on a petition filed with BPU seeking approval of electric vehicle program, and JCP&L petition filed with BPU to establish a cost recovery mechanism for the community solar program and a new rate component of the company's rider.
That's second.
Okay. And just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving coming up. And I just want to talk about the progress of the internship program. We have a number of students from the high school who want to participate, been working with the mayor and our business administrator. And I believe, Dan, you spoke with Mike about the applications. Okay, so go ahead. We're good. Okay, so we have applications. We're looking to start scheduling them to come in for the swearing in on January 3rd and run about a 6-week program. And hopefully other council members would like to be council mentors for these students, and they would get an in-depth look at how council works and how behind the scenes. So I anticipate Jess and Nicole will have some activities too, which would be great. I would love to be a fly on the wall there too. So I'm excited.
It's exciting. This just shows you how much our young people really want to get involved, because you put that information out for interested candidates. And I don't know, within days, you had already gotten how many total?
5 now.
5 now, and we wanted to start it small though, so that way
Yeah.
it was not overwhelming.
Are these high school students, Don?
They're high school students.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can expand out too into, other schools, the VOTEC, people from Sayreville, let them get their feet wet on what's
Right, I
going
think
on.
it's really important for, the students to know, and even some of their parents, where we skip a generation, to know what their local government is really doing and have a clear understanding of it. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, I think my biggest appeal to this was the idea of, we're not gonna be here forever. So it's nice to, it's nice to think that there's individuals that are young and really find government to be interesting and want to know more, and to have their feet wet before they come up, and who knows, we could be literally interning the next president of the United States. You never know.
Something.
Really impressive. So good work. Anything else?
No, Mayor, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Yes. Planning and zoning, Councilwoman Moore.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the following minutes reports be received and filed. Construction officials report for the month of October 2021. Fire prevention report for the month of October 2021. Zoning and code enforcement report for the month of October 2021.
Is there a second? There we go.
I have a notice of public hearing to be held before the South River Planning Board on December 6, 2021 regarding ordinance number 202-22, amending chapter 350 zoning. And committee reports. I am very excited about my new bus shelters, our new bus shelters. Thank you, Dan. Dan, how long have I been asking you?
How long have you
long
been
time.
on the council from a
So I think that's my eye-opening experience being a new councilwoman, is noticing how long it takes to get anything done. Patience of a saint, I attribute that to my teaching abilities. But yeah, so our new bus shelters, there's 2 on Washington Road, one at the corner of Main and one in front of Kennedy Park is currently in the process. It's been removed, but it is now in the process of being replaced. So just aesthetically, I try to ask for improvements on, you know, the aesthetics of our town. I think it's important to reinvest our money into our town. It needs a facelift. So any suggestions? I'll work on them for the next year of my life as well. Slow
Little
and steady.
Botox in the corners there.
Yes.
Now, the residents, though, that are using those bus shelters, I have to say, it's not just aesthetics to them. The benches and the protections from the rain and from the snow and from the wind, really, it wasn't being provided anymore by the shelters that were there. So outside of the aesthetic purposes of it, our commuters and our residents appreciate it. I know that for sure.
And then secondly, our community garden now has its own Facebook page. So we also put out advertising and inquiries, Google form for interested members. And I think we already have over 100 people that are interested. So that hopefully by the spring, I think they'll start planting and starting the community garden. So again, that also has taken over a year, probably more, to get off the ground and running. We've had a few hiccups along the way, but we didn't give up, and it's a determined group of people that, you know, I think they're gonna do something amazing there. So that's it, progress.
Great job. Thank you very much. Public Safety, Councilman Conti, please.
Thank you very much. I move the following minutes and reports to be received and filed. The Municipal Court Report for the month of October 2021. Board of Health Registrar and County Reports for the month of October 2021. Police Department Report for the month of October 2021, and Board of Health Minutes of October 7, 2021. All right, and received a letter of resignation as firefighter from Thomas Longo of Engine Co. Number 1.
Thank you. Committee reports?
All right, a couple of things. So, easiest one first, Councilwoman Marr, Sergeant Braille had said, in response to your Creamer Drive weight restriction, he said he didn't see it to be a problem and would have come up with a recommendation to do so shortly. So it looks like that'll be an easy one for us. I also did speak with him about a couple other things. Of course, he likes the idea of getting those flashing signs by OLV, the crosswalk signs. He's going to do some investigation and present something to us. He said it'll likely cost a couple of dollars to get the signage over there, but he'll make that recommendation, and assuming that we're all on board, we'll stay okay and we'll get those signs. So he's going to look at that for us. He also did look at he looked into the issue about the permit signs. He doesn't know who or why they were removed, but he can certainly look into having them placed again. The interesting thing that he did say was that they don't actually enforce them.
The sign enforces itself.
Well, so he just wanted to be clear. He said, but, you know, just know that we don't issue any violations or we don't enforce the permit signs. So if that's what you were looking for, then we don't. So I said, okay, I wasn't really sure exactly, but I will take that back and we'll talk about it. So as long as we know that part is clear, that there's no issuing of violations, I can work with him on getting them back.
I think it's more of a deterrent for the individuals that live in those areas.
Okay.
Them not being
Yeah,
able to have access.
signage, a lot of times we'll do that.
Yes.
Just wanted to make sure that, you know, I understood that, and I just wanted to make sure I expressed that too.
And Mayor, I can't even find where, because I got out and walked. I mean, I had all but a metal detector, and I don't know how they got the pole, but yeah,
It was probably a TikTok thing.
oh dear God.
So last thing for me too. So I think this is I think I'll need to make a motion for this. Yeah, I know we talked about it previously about the swearing in for the new year, and I know we were going to move it to the 3rd of January, but I did receive some feedback about, tradition and doing it on the 1st, and there were some objections to not doing it on the 1st, and it makes sense to me. It's something that, those being appointed, they truly do cherish it. It's a memorable experience, and they want to be able to know that they can be a part of it. And moving it to the Monday, sometimes that gets in the way of that actually happening. So I did want to make a motion that we do a ceremonial swearing in on the 1st, and not a meeting, but a ceremonial swearing in, and then have our traditional meeting on the 3rd, like as it's scheduled.
I'll defer over to Jess. I mean, when it comes to the swearing-ins, are you talking about the 2 new council people?
Well, I would say that, and then the other appointments,
Yeah, how did we do it? It was, it was very small, yeah. Oh, that's right. I'm
So there
starting
was
to.
the 2 new council people that got sworn in, the fire department and the EMS that came with their families, so nothing for the public.
Right, that was because of the COVID restrictions, yes, yes.
That January 1st, we tried to do it, like the council, and then firemen came in, and they left the first day.
Yeah, so prior to that, we used to do the swearing in and then the council meeting all in one fell swoop.
2 new council people will still need to be sworn in.
Be sworn in January January 3rd.
Correct.
So, I mean, quite honestly, we used to do it all in one shot though, right? Am I imagining those, before COVID?
Before COVID, we were sworn in the back.
Right, and for the agenda session, and we came here.
Here we did get sworn in. Last year, Vince and I had our little swearing in here, and then at the first meeting, we did our public swearing in.
Right.
We got 227.
I mean, at this point where we
there was
are,
nobody here for either one, really.
Yeah.
Right? So,
so would we be doing the 2 meetings as a precaution in reference to COVID? Or are we doing 2 meetings because we want to make sure January 1 is being taken? Well, the swearing-ins, I mean, the ceremonies. Are we doing this as a precaution, or are we doing this just, listen, I'm all for doing everything in one day, if we need to do it all in the one day like we used to, but I want to make certain that everybody is safe and comfortable with that. If you want to do it in 2 days, I don't have an objection with it either, so I think there's a couple of options. I'm here regardless. Gone are the days where I went out on New Year's Eve. No, I'm saying that it's all about them, whatever they want.
What's about tradition? It's all about you.
No, it's about what they want. It's about what they want.
so if we had the
Not me.
ceremonial swearing in on the 1st, and then stuck with the meeting on the 3rd, that's what I'd be looking to propose.
Is that what you guys want?
I think I think it's a special event. It's a special event for individuals getting sworn in. And I think that they deserve it. It's tradition. I think they deserve it. And sticking to our regular meeting. Yeah.
Yeah. So, any objection to the idea of doing the January 1st and the January 3rd meetings? The January 1st swearing in and the January 3rd meeting? Any objection? Oh.
Is there still flexibility to just be sworn in on the 3rd if there's a conflict for the 1st for anyone? Because the 3rd is what was in our
Yeah.
packet, that's what we've been.
The council people have they can come on January 1st, or they can just do it all on January 3rd if they would like.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So, once again, what's the will of the council? Are we all in favor of the January 1 and the January 3? Any objections first? I see no objections. And so it's done. January 1 and January 3.
Okay.
Done.
I guess 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock.
All right, put that all together. Let us know when, time-wise.
Noon.
There you go. You'll have to remind me, I'll forget. Recreation, anything else, Councilman Conti?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Recreation, Councilman Enriquez.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the following minutes reports be received and filed. Recreation Department report for the month of October 2021.
There you go.
Thank you. All right, we have our parade of lights that start at 6 p.m. on December 5th. And we are also continuing collecting donations for the toy drive all the way up to November 30th. Any donation could be left at the Mickey Sedlak Center. And I'd just like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Progress.
Thank you. Water and Sewer Environmental, Councilman Novak.
Okay, that's me. I move that the minutes and reports that are listed on the agenda under A1 and 2 be received and filed.
Second.
Other than that, I want to wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. I would also ask for a moment of silence for the people that lost their lives in Wisconsin at their holiday parade. I just got choked up when Damon started to talk about hours. I mean, we really missed it last year and looking forward to having it, and yet the people in Wisconsin were going through that too. So if we could have a moment of silence for all of those people that lost their lives and pray for the people that are still seriously injured in the hospital. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Anything else?
Progress.
Thank you very much. Public Works, Council President Delino.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the following minutes and departmental reports, A1 and 2, be received and filed.
Second.
We've received a letter of retirement from Kyle Quackenbush from his position in the Department of Public Works effective December 1st, 2021. I would like to thank Kyle for his service to the borough. We also received a letter from the PBA and the Sayreville Fire Department requesting the closure of Roosevelt Boulevard in front of President Park Firehouse on December 5th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. for a cornhole tournament. Approve or deny. I'm assuming that no one has an issue with that.
No objection with the cornhole tour. Okay.
And then I would like to receive and file D after that progress.
Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and enjoy your time with your family, and let's continue to pray for even better days coming forward. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll move on to our business administrator's report. Mr. Frankel.
Thank you, Mayor. Authorization to amend the inclement weather policy, review and approval of 2022 council meeting schedule, authorization for new contract with Central Jersey Joint Insurance Fund for a 3-year term commencing on January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2024. Authorization to appoint Joseph A. DeLuca Advisory and Consulting Services, LLC, to provide professional consulting services for funds from the American Rescue Plan that the borough received at a fee not to exceed $16,000 for Phase 1.
I just got a comment. Do we have any clue what, the only thing I don't like about that is I do think we do need someone to help us with our guidance here, but I just read the email that you put out today on this, and it's very open-ended for how much more. If we want to, I mean, this guy could turn around and say it's $160,000 now on Phase 2, or whatever the next phase would be on this. And I'm just a little sketchy on that. I'd rather see something in writing what you're going to charge us, not just $16,000 up front and then whatever I feel like billing you.
It's not $16,000 up front. There is a fee schedule that goes with this up to $16,000. So it's not, here's a check for $16,000, not help us. The first phase is going through some of the things that you've asked for tonight that Denise and I and the attorney need to go over as far as but it's more for what is allowed in the American Rescue Plan, where we can put that money towards and helping us develop that plan in order for us to say that's okay. We've had a couple ideas from $10,000 or $15,000 for in here as far as improvements. So I think he will do that as far as helping us. Anything beyond that in the Phase 2 would be more for think of it as an accounting. He would keep everything for us as far as the books are concerned. This is more for getting us over the hump in order for us to make sure that what we're doing and some of the plans that we want to use this money for is correct.
Okay, so that 16,000 is just up to 16,000 for the Phase 1.
Correct.
I didn't read through the whole proposal, like I said, I just saw it today.
No, I agree with you. They say up to $16,000 for the first phase, but then they just give like hourly rates with no, the second phase, how much that could possibly be. There's no.
We're not accepting, we're not doing, this was only for approval for the first phase. This is not for phase two. The proposal you had there is for showing you what phase two would look like.
Okay,
Thank you.
makes sense.
Thank you.
I just ask you one question about the Central Jersey Joint Insurance Fund. Is there any other groups that do this?
Sure.
There are?
We've gone out to, yeah, we have gone out and tried to, we had one that's under investigation right now for the Jersey State Banking that we were in 10 years ago, that we got out of,
10 years ago?
that we got out of.
And this isn't typically an appointment, this is something that we do,
It's a contract, it's not an appointment.
it's not an appointment and stuff, but we've gone through and we've looked at all.
We've asked for proposals, we got proposals in, they're for Central Jersey area right now, they're the best JIF out there.
The best we found. How many proposals did we get?
I think they evaluated 3 proposals for us. Reliance did,
Reliance did, and that's who they put forth?
yes.
Okay.
Also, I guess I should bring it up here. We have a old snow plowing policy that is ancient from what I understand for employees that want to help us out for snow plowing. They get paid in the range of around $16 or $17 an hour, which is ancient. We only have 2 or 3 employees that have even volunteered for this. They do use our trucks. When you go for private snow plowing, the range, what I've researched, is anywhere from $50 to $75 an hour. Now, that's for large trucks, not just pickup trucks that we have. So I would like even to encourage, so all hands on deck, if more employees like to do it, I'd like to try to make that up to $35 an hour. And
When Jen first brought that up, I suggested that, when we do the budget for Public Works, that we should bring it up during the budgeting process, because that's a line item, I believe, in the budget.
it's a line item, but unfortunately, this is also in their contract. We'd have to reopen the contract.
But Dan, it's funny because they pay kids $15 to shovel, let alone drive a plow, to pay them $15, $16. So that seems to make sense.
Right.
It's with the times. So it'd be
I didn't
for it.
realize we had to open the contract.
We have to open a contract to do it. So I know they have 1 year left in their contract, but it's up to you whether you, I mean, we can open it for this specific item, but that's where we have to renegotiate.
I don't.
All hands on deck. You know
Okay?
what I feel about
Everybody okay?
Yep.
Okay. Authorization to appoint Paul Eggington to Deputy Court Administrator effective January 3rd, 2022. Authorization to purchase turnout gear from Skylands Area Fire Equipment through New Jersey State Contract 17, an amount not to exceed $54,628.21. Authorization to purchase one 2022 Chevy Tahoe from Wall Chevrolet through the ESCNJ contract, an amount not to exceed $40,521.15. Authorization to purchase one 2022 Chevy Tahoe from Wall Chevrolet through the ESCN contract, an amount not to exceed $41,790.49.
I know this is a stupid question. The $1,600 difference, I guess one's just got more equipment on it?
One's got more bells and whistles. Yeah, it's hard finding
So
vehicles.
in other words, we're just taking what's there. and
Taking what's
one has
there.
more stuff.
Correct.
All right. I know it's hard to find any.
Authorization to purchase light sirens equipment from East Coast Emergency Lighting through New Jersey State Contract 17, an amount not to exceed $18,876.85. I just want to go back to one thing here. We have an agreement with Helmeta that we have had with Kirk Mick being the Director of Code Enforcement. Through all the floods, we've kept up that contract. That we were going to actually try to terminate the shared services agreement. Kirk right now feels that there's just too much that he has to do in our municipality, and doesn't see the increase of revenue for the work that he has to do in Helmeta. So I'd like to I'd like to terminate with notice, not to leave Helmeta hanging, but terminate the shared service agreement with Helmeta.
Does that end at the end of the year, Dan?
It really ends with notice. It really ends
Oh, okay.
with notification, but we want to give them 3 months' notice. We're not going to leave them hanging.
Yeah, I think it's important to do that. I mean, Helmeta just turned around in the last storm, and they had significant damage. There was a lot, literally, Kevin, I know you walked along with me as well, and people's homes were literally on their front steps, which is something here in Saraville we know all too well. If the council's okay with that termination, I do feel it's important to reach out to Mayor Chris and make certain that he has the opportunity to have another municipality pick up that service. Yeah, some notice, in order to make sure of that. Mayor Chris, he's been a good partner, and I know he appreciates the work that we've done, so.
Okay. Under Public Works, authorization to appoint, I hope I pronounced this right, Anthony Mercado, is that correct? I'm sorry, okay. To Labor One in the Department of Public Works, effective January 18th, 2022. Thank you, Chief. Good luck. Keep your buckle on. Letter received from William Spector requesting the vacating of Laurel Street. Memorializing an emergency contract issued to A.C. Schulte's.
Wait.
I'm sorry.
Councilman Nolan has a comment.
We don't just vacate streets so somebody can build a development. I mean,
There's a lot of blocks and lots on that one.
yeah, but
What's going on to,
they,
that just seems,
there's a paper road that belongs to the town, and he wants us to just vacate it so he can build his development, because he's got lots on either side. We don't do that. So, I mean, what I would suggest is we turn that over to the Open Space Committee and wait for their recommendation on that. And that, even then, if they decide to do it, he's got to pay for it. We're gonna have to go out and get an appraisal on the property and charge him whatever the value is. Open Space Committee. If that's okay with everybody.
Any objections from the council in reference to that? Yes.
Okay, memorializing an emergency contract issued to H.C. Schulte's for the repair of Weber Avenue Storm Sewer Pump Number 2 through the Passaic Valley Storage Commission contract, PVSC 279-6, in the amount not to exceed $42,882.
No, that's not what I wanted. No, okay.
Authorization to award a contract to Tom's Ford of Keyport, New Jersey, OEM Ford Parts and Service through the NJPA Sourcewell Contract 101-520-FMC. Authorization to award a non-fair and open contract to General Electric Incorporated for the maintenance and repair of traffic lights in an amount not to exceed $20,000. Authorization to purchase one 2022 Elkhart Coach Shuttle Bus from Alliance Bus Service through the ESCNJ contract in an amount not to exceed $71,042.56.
I did want to speak about that. I mean, that's an extremely important pump down there by Weber Avenue. And this could be out of service. It's going to take 20 weeks just to rebuild this. How much more would it be to replace it? I'm concerned about the 20 weeks and still paying. Yeah, right here.
Number 3, right?
Sewer pump too.
The one of the problems, actually, it's the best time to repair it. The winter time is the best time to repair this pump. That
I
was,
just was wondering, did we look at a price for just replacing it? I don't know.
And
I don't know
ask-
whether it would be that much more expensive, but I don't want to hold it up.
I'm going to go over to Jay for this, if you don't mind. Jay, can you speak a little bit more on that particular pump station, why we want to do that now?
Well, I think Mr. Frankel's correct. Now's the time to go through and do the repairs. I was not involved with the process. I don't know if it's more cost-effective to repair or replace. I'm assuming the company that did the valuation would have come back to you and said that it's not worth fixing. It's more cost-effective to replace it. But I don't know for sure since I wasn't involved with that.
Okay, Jay. Dan, anything? Was this recommended by Leitner too?
this is not Leitner, this is from
Oh, I'm sorry, this is from, yeah,
Public Works.
Public Works, my apologies. I'm used to, whenever I see water, my brain immediately goes over to, so from Public Works perspective, then this is something that would need to be done? Yes. Okay. No, but now is the time that they need, I mean,
20 weeks is going to.
Right. Two more things, just so we see going on Michelle's facelift of what's happening. I don't know if people have noticed it, but we actually had a new clothing drop-off vendor that is replacing all of the clothing drop-offs, and there's going to be new, I think most of them are actually up. So they are cleaner, they look a little different, so anybody who has clothes or anything they need to drop off, there's about 24 of them throughout the town. And last but not least, I'd like to thank my personal thanks from my family to the fire department for all the treats that I received for Thanksgiving, and I wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Very nice. Let's move on to our CFO's report then. Denise?
One thing, Madam Mayor, I have a budget transfer resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions on that? We'll move over to our borough engineer. Anything?
No report, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. And borough attorney? No report, Mayor. We do have a need for exec session today? We'll go to public first. Okay, so at this time, we will go to the public portion yet again. If there's anybody that wishes to speak at this time, please step forward and give name and at Mr. Duffy.
Yeah, I'm here.
Now I'm never gonna forget you.
I'm gonna roll the dice. I'm just gonna make a suggestion on the one thing I heard. On the
Name and address just one more time.
business administrator,
Hang on one second, just name and address one more time for Jess, I'm sorry.
Robert Duffy, 111 Merritt Avenue.
Thank you, now,
My taxes are paid.
go ahead.
Authorization for the $16,000. Is there any way, does the Business Administration Association have seminars on this?
There is no Business Administration Association.
You don't have a union or association? Well,
No
each-
union, no administration, no education,
He's
no
all
nothing.
honest.
I'm just trying to save the town a few dollars. You go to a seminar, the firemen have association, they go and have. So each town, if the business administrator doesn't know what to do, they have to hire a consultant.
Oh, not true. I mean, I have to give Dan some credit here, even though there's, he researches, he does work, obviously.
I
We call with
understand he
other
does.
municipalities so that they can communicate with one another and get an idea of what's going on. But unfortunately, we have no association to send him to.
But each town, do they hire, do you know if each town hires a?
So just so you know, there's shared services agreement between municipalities. There's shared services agreement with the county. Okay, this consultant has worked with the county. I've asked to see if I could do a shared services agreement with the county. The county has refused to do that. There are so many projects that this town needs right now, okay, that, as you know, and you've been telling us, that for us to bring in a consultant for $16,000 to help us prioritizing, making sure what's right or wrong, making sure they don't have to pay later on when the federal government says this project wasn't allowed, it's a drop in the bucket, okay? To have that expertise come to us and be helping us, it's well worth the money.
2 teachers on your side.
Absolutely, yes.
We know we can take something out.
Okay, just,
I know, you rolled that dice, you rolled it.
Your job's secured there.
All right, any other comments? Mr. Bello, are you coming back, or are you just moving? Okay. Wonderful. Any other comments then from the public? All right, seeing none at this time?
Make a motion to close the public portion?
Second.
All in favor?
That being said, Mayor, whereas the Open Public Meeting Act permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, whereas this public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist. I'm sorry, I'm inhaling my mask. Now therefore it be resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Saraville, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, the public portion of this meeting is hereby adjourned in the order that the governing body may meet in closed private session for approximately 30 minutes to discuss personnel and contract negotiations. Following the conclusion of said closed session, the governing body shall reconvene the open portion public of this public meeting to consider any other matters which may be properly brought before it at this time. The nature and content of the discussion which occurs in closed session shall be made public at such time as the need for non-disclosure no longer exists.
Make a motion to go
I
in.
need, yes, I need a
Second.
motion. Second, roll call, please.
Councilperson Selena?
Yes.
Conti?
Thank you.
Enriquez?
Yes.
Mar?
Yes.
Novak?
Yes.
Roberts?
Yes.
Okay, so you are more than welcome to stay if you so choose. There will not be any action taken after our executive session. So you're free to leave if you wish. We will come back in to adjourn our meeting. Thank you all. If you choose to leave, again, have a happy Thanksgiving. Be safe. Uh-huh.
We're leaving for the airport right after.
Probably not.
Make sure I got everything. Okay. And these ones that have the 2021-89 resolutions. Okay, because I recognized some of it, but I was like, I couldn't find it, so I just wanted to ask. So I did sign them.
All certified, ready to go.
Okay. Okay. I just feel good that that there was an actual reason that. But make sure I've signed everything, because I'm not gonna be here.
Oh, you want, let me see it.
I have to, okay, all right. I just want to make sure you know the lottery, the bingos. Oh, yeah, the bingos. Sounds like fun. Now, remember, right, the Finger Lakes? Yeah. Nice. We actually stayed near the Finger Lakes in an Airbnb, which was that log cabin. They had to walk across the field to use the bathroom.
Oh, really?
Made for a quick trip. Yeah, it was gorgeous though.
Thank you so much for buying everything the other day. You had a good time.
Okay, my suitcase is to be packed in your car, so I'll drive the car home and I'll meet you there. I will executive session. Happy Thanksgiving.
Are they waiting for me? Oh, hey, come and visit anytime, and honestly, you ever need to. No, I'm doing it.
I know it might cause a problem.
running it as long as I have. So, at 111, I was running it, you know. There's a learning curve.
Good luck, I'm concerned really.
Oh, thank you.
I just wish you good luck on getting it resolved.
Thank you, I appreciate it. But,
I emphasize.
thank you.
Anthony's gonna be joining the borough. Jeez.
Thank you, too. Thank you.
Hey, he's going to.
Yeah, we're not. But I can't. You know what I mean? Trust me, I've been working on it. Starting at the bottom, yeah. Long term, yeah, that's what my wife said. We had to do. Well, listen, I'm hoping I can stay more time. You know, 62, you know, and going, like, you know, most of my bosses, yeah, so, like, you know, I stay more time. I'll make up that money a little bit.
Hey, she must have pretty good. That was pretty good. I started it too when we were like watching it. Okay, no, we got away from the kids and the husbands. There you go. Quiet, just the two of us in the hotel. That's it? Yeah. Becky didn't come, Becky was supposed to come, but she didn't come. That two of us come down one night.
Oh, Brian, too.
Yeah. Well, I didn't really, but you know, they gave, when you signed up, you got $20, but I won like $150 off of the slot. So I paid for dinner, I thought, we didn't, I can't hold like, for $20, and she left me 45 minutes an hour. She lost,
That's the, like, yeah.
Very good. But
My
then I
wife,
just
my
kept
wife,
drinks.
my wife, like, you know, and it took me fast, and I'm like, forget it. You know what I can do is $100, like,
Just a little bit. She's like, I was laughing because I walked by the lady singing Kumbaya.
oh, God, yeah.
And one guy's like, hey, I'm like, what are you doing? Let's go, let's go. So it was beautiful. There's like a little sexy.
Yeah.
Oh, we got one. It's over in Public Works.
Yeah, George plays it all the time. Oh, my God, I was like, oh,
He called out from Woodward. He hasn't been around for
yeah, yeah. There's definitely some person. Like,
I was there.
You go get a truck driver. He goes get a truck driver. I go, dude.
We had that thing where people, like, they have it, prove the money, so we can't do it.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're, oh, shit, you're on the fucking phone.
Yeah, when they start getting nasty, that, you know, but that's only the season, like, he only said one side of the story. You know, you don't know what exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I love
when they call us.
I think, oh.
Tell us all of these like terrible things.
Yeah.
Okay. We have one today, Rita J. And he's like, Rita J. We'll wait, you said after that.
Yeah.
So like the one day I looked at the things for the street, to see who was like called up. He's not even a complaint. He hasn't even called me to complain about the street. And there's like one or two residents that call that actually live on the street. Out of like 20 homes.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
He said, Bernie Bear.
Yeah.
So he went, oh, I was like, yo, it's only like half hour. I was like, cool.
Yeah, he was done. They let me know.
I was actually glad I got firm seat out. Can't make it up. because what happened was they didn't have the pizza crumb that two teams were eating, somebody else asked for it. So they were like, they changed it to apple crumb, and instead of me adding 2 more, I just took the number that was in front of me. So when I came back, I had to take Nick's spot, like, yo, you gotta give it up. I'll bring yours back later. And then George had to go down.
Not for me.
Sacrifice pie.
They'll have our new carpet in here.
Oh my God, I remember one year with, and the pie. Oh, she went after you.
Oh, yeah, that was.
Oh my God, again, I gotta quit this job.
She was pissed you didn't ask her specifically what pie she wanted or something like that?
Yeah, I remember.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, yeah. No, you get what I give you, that's it.
She wasn't then.
She wasn't in.
Yeah,
That was funny.
George, I'm sorry you have that problem now.
Yeah, I'm supposed to call you up at home and say, oh, I'm gonna call everybody, but, oh, you want them? No, you'll get, I get you. Yeah. Thank God that's over. And you're going out this year. Yeah, and then you're gone, next one up. Get ready, starting them up. Come in January 1st. All right.
Start meeting for the simmer. Something we're gonna like, something we're gonna hate.
Anything consistent?
I can't please everybody. Nope. It's hard to be sure. When you feel sad, we'll make you some of our award-winning children.
You know, I spent a lot of hard work on my chili.
Well, not to be second something, so I was rude.
Toasted.
Yours was ghost chili. Ghost chili. Ghost chili.
They came home from that meeting, they're right upstairs in the room and like closed the bedroom door and I'm
They do.
right and.
I can't tell her, I can't tell her.
And when I came in the next day, I was
And you're cold. Call someone. Go get a pot of them from Wendy's.
I'm like, no.
Yeah. Ask for a fan or something like that.
Call the head.
So mad. Yeah.
It's sad I come down the meetings. I think it's overscheduled. My husband goes, it's been 2 weeks already? Yeah. Fly by. Yeah, tomorrow, so we have to tell them tomorrow that one.
And that's when I see
One
her.
in our office, yeah, I know that, you think a lot of it. Yeah, that one's in my thing. Because batteries just got all replaced.
Hey, 'cause that one's not even moving. Right here, it's not even moving on that one.
No, that's how it is in our office.
That's definitely a long time.
Quarter to 10, that would be something. Yeah. Anything interesting, Denise?
Huh?
Anything interesting? No?
Not really, but at least, something better than doing nothing.
So you video gaming money. Yeah.
That's why you were in the arcade in AC.
Yeah. That's what they're called? You gotta pay for them. Yeah, we'll be coming up that way. Get them on the way back. Yeah. Jonathan's year, we got it before COVID hit. Right? Yeah, because my boy, you can't put everybody in. Yeah. My boy's like that, but like, I guess they didn't want to be good this year.
You're good.
I will follow you.
Yeah, so he'll probably be calling you. I was thinking that's what we're gonna tell you.
I'm hot, she's cold all the time.
No, that thing hasn't moved all night.
I did pay attention, I signed things from March that had to, I did check on those before I handed them over.
Sweating.
It's like a game, it's like, what's trying to slip in here?
Make a motion to go back into the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to,
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are done.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. No, we have to.
That's the rule.
Hey, enjoy, your
Yeah,
trip.
we're fine. Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving, folks.
Good night. Good night. Thank you. Yes. I will. We're, going